I'm James.
My name's Keegan.
I'm Garrett.
I'm Cadence. I'm Josie.
And I'm Jack, and today we're going to be doing Impossible Foods. So, how many of you guys in here have heard of Impossible Foods? Awesome, so a good chunk of you. Just a quick little overview for you guys, for those who haven't heard about us. We're a plant-based meat substitute that was founded in 2011 out in California. And we now have a wide variety of products that we'll get into, but from now we're going to go on to the table of contents. So we'll be covering the mission and vision, the pestle analysis, marketing plan, a SWOT analysis, marketing mix, and marketing trends today.
And to start off with the mission and vision, our mission statement is to reduce humanity's destructive impact on the environment by creating meat out of plants. And their vision statement is to completely replace animals in the global food market by the year 2035. But the problem is, as the population grows, the way we produce meat has become very unsustainable with the amount of greenhouse gases and, for example, the process of cows and butchering and putting them through processing and things like that. But the strategy to combat that is they use or possibly uses this molecule called heme. It makes meat taste makes their meat taste very meaty and genuine. It tastes like normal meat, but it's obviously plant-based.
I'll be talking about the pestle analysis, which is basically the way that this company interacts with the people and the environment. To start off, I'll be talking about the political and legal factors. Impossible Food has aligned itself with something called the Paris Agreement, which was signed in 2016 by the United Nations. It is basically a goal to stop carbon emissions by the year of 2050. And by aligning themselves with this, that also helps the company lower their emissions. There are a lot of tariffs and trade regulations that they have to follow. Since Impossible Foods is mostly based in the United States, they don't have to worry about shipping foods out. However, a lot of their ingredients that they use, since it's plant-based, comes from a lot of different countries, so they do have to watch the tariffs coming in, and then along with the trade regulations. They also have to follow a lot of labeling restrictions and FDA oversights. There's actually a law in some states where you can't call plant-based foods meat or a burger, as it's kind of deceiving. It is very, very similar to a real meat taste, so they don't want the consumers to think that they're buying one thing and actually eating another thing. Next, I'm going to talk about the economic and social factors. As we all know, like we said before, there is a rise in traditional meat price or meat cost. So their goal is to compete with the regular meat market. Unfortunately, it is harder to lower the prices because it is all a new technology and it's all and it's not directly coming from an animal. However, they have sent out that they are trying to reduce the prices by 15% by the year of 2027, which is next year. So while we don't fully know if they can succeed in that yet, we will see it coming up. Next, I'll talk about the technological and environmental factors. This entire company is based around saving the environment and helping the environment. And one way they do that is by using technology. So a way they might do that is by using AI or robots to speed up their process. As we know, AI also isn't the best for the environment, so they're trying to stay away from that. However, using robots can speed up their production and lower the costs.
Alright, so next I'm going to talk about our current marketing plan. So first I'm going to give a brief overview of what our marketing plan actually is about. First, we want to try and reduce our environmental impact. We are a plant-based company, so we do have a significantly smaller carbon footprint compared to traditional meat production, but we're always trying to lower our own as we are an environmentally conscious company. Next, we're actually trying to target meat eaters, so we're unique from a lot of other plant-based companies as they usually target just vegans or vegetarians. So we're actually trying to get out there and convert people who are eating meat to come to our more environmentally friendly products. Next would be increasing our partnerships with our restaurants and fast food chains. We've been around for a few years now, so we already do have a good amount of partnerships, but we're always trying to reach out and get our product out there more so people can actually start switching out. And again, moving into more retail and grocery stores, we're just trying to get our product next I'm going to talk about some of our objectives. So our main objective currently is increasing adoption from flexitarians. So flexitarians are meat eaters who are actually open to eating more plant-based foods and incorporating it in their diets. And we want to do this because they make up a large portion of the United States. They're roughly 11%, so we're trying to reach out to a whole new market. And since they're open to our products, we get it through it. Next would be our increasing our brand awareness and actually growing the entire meat market or culture and growing market itself. We're trying to do this by reaching new consumers, and by reaching out to these new consumers, they're going to want our products in more stores, which is going to help support our retail business and our customers. What's going good with our company so far? In recent years, we've had significant growth in brand recognition. I think a lot of you have seen like the Impossible Whopper, or if you go down to Starbucks, we have our plant-based like breakfast sandwich down there. So that's pretty good. Our distribution has expanded a lot in recent years. I think we're in roughly 30,000 stores in the U.S. now, but again, we're trying to get out there more so more people can have our products. And then we do have a lot of ongoing product innovation. Most plant-based companies, they really only have one or two things, but we have a wide variety in ours, from hamburgers to hot dogs. We also have our chicken range, which is chicken nuggets and chicken patties, and we have a lot of other options. But what's not going good, we do currently have higher prices compared to real meat. Like we just said, we're trying to get our prices down. So we are under like the premium cuts of meat, but we still can't really beat out like the lower quality ones, like kind of mid quality. There's also been a reduced customer willingness to buy. That's mostly been due to inflation. You know, it's hard to justify buying a product that's a little more expensive when it's still really cheaper. And there's also been a recent increase in competition. There's a lot more alternative food companies out there, along with grocery stores have been kind of introducing their own private labels recently, so it's hard to compete with us.
Alright, moving on to the SWOT analysis. This analyzes Impossible Foods' strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Starting off with the strengths, Impossible Foods has a really unique product innovation. It uses the heme molecule to make their plant-based meat really taste almost indiscernible from a real animal product. Because of this heme molecule, this gives them a first mover advantage. They're the first in the market to do this. And along with that, we also have strong brand recognition. As you can see, I mean, that Impossible huge bold wording is plastered on every packaging of theirs. And they also do a lot of collaboration with other companies, which we've kind of touched on already. This is the image of the Impossible Whopper. They also have the Impossible Breakfast Sandwich, and they've collaborated with other fast food and food joints like Red Robin and Applebee's, and I mean, truly the list goes on. With strengths, we also have weaknesses, and it's impossible to not have weaknesses. They do have a higher price point. This is really common with this. I mean, this is really common with a plant-based product in general. This is a chart that is just plant-based foods in general, not Impossible Foods alone. The lowest price premium is for beef, which is pretty common. It's been around the longest with a 14%. And the highest price premium is 231% for turkey. Their production scaling is also a weakness. This is because the process of producing animal products, it has been around a lot longer, it is more refined, and so it is going to cost more for a plant-based product to be produced and for them to expand their factories with that technology. They also rely on soy and potato proteins. These are very heavily regulated by the FDA, and the price can fluctuate, which can cause a price fluctuation for Impossible Foods as well. And they also face consumer apprehension, as there are a lot of communities of people who eat meat and don't necessarily have the urge to try a plant-based meat, or they may think it's unhealthy or just gross. Opportunities for Impossible Foods. There is a growing market for plant-based meat, and there are also a lot of sustainability trends out there right now. I think really more so than ever, especially with millennials and Gen Z. I think that being planet conscious is something that is really up and coming, and it will continue to grow, and that is something that Impossible Foods can definitely corner the market on. They also could expand geographically. There are a lot of places in the Middle East and places like India where plant-based foods are really becoming more popular and more common. And although they are really strong with their eco-friendly practices, there is always room for growth on that as well. Finally, we have threats. They do have competition within the market. We touched on that a little bit. Like Beyond Meat, they are really competing with other brands on this. It's a pretty equal competition. They, the consumer perception again, which I already touched on, some consumers just aren't going to be willing to try it, and that kind of limits their market. And also they face intellectual property challenges with the heme molecule. If they don't trademark that, it could become a problem with other companies swooping in and trying to steal that process and sell it at a cheaper price.
Alright, so I'm going to be talking about the marketing mix, and we've touched on a lot of this, so we'll move pretty quickly through it. So, what is the product of Impossible Foods? It's that plant-based product you guys will recognize right after this presentation. You go to your Meijer, you go to your Walmart and Target, you'll see it and say, I know what that is now. They use that heme molecule, which gives it that taste and texture, which makes it almost indiscernible from animal product. The price, it is genuinely very affordable. As we saw earlier, it's roughly $7 for a packet of beef. With their chicken and their turkey being a little more pricey, those have the higher royalties, but those are a newer product, and I'm sure in the future at some point they'll be able to really lower that and really start to be able to compete with the animal products, making it less of a luxury item compared to what some might consider already to be. However, that is not the ultimate goal of Impossible Foods. Where can you buy this? You can buy it in brick and mortar stores. So that will be your Meijers, your Walmarts, your Targets. They also have an option to order online. However, it's a little different compared to most stores when you go to order something online. As you go, find your location, and they actually just send you to a part on their app that lists off the different brick and mortars that you guys can pick up this product at. They may offer shipment to you through apps like Instacart, but mainly you're going to find this in brick and mortar stores. And promotion, they really do focus on their sustainable affordability and nutrition of Impossible Foods meat. It was founded to be a more sustainable way to get a meat protein, as compared to getting your beef, which might cause some more environmental factors that some people want to stay away from. They also use the red packaging, which incorporates color psychology. You'll find that in Wendy's and McDonald's. The color red really makes you desire to eat that food. It makes you more hungry. It just sends something off in your brain. And they use the bold colors and fonts, as we saw with the Impossible Whopper earlier in the slide as well. It stands out to you. It makes you know this is our product. It's different than your Beyond the Beef or Beyond Beef, or just a normal meat product. So.
Alright, and finally I'm going to quickly be discussing some marketing trends. So let's see how Impossible Foods implements some of the most popular trends into their marketing. Alright, so first, one of the most popular marketing trends as of 2026 so far is artificial intelligence. This can be used in many ways, like chatbots using generative AI in videos and images. Impossible Foods does have a chatbot you can access on their website to help you more efficiently answer questions, but it might be a good idea for them not to implement AI so heavily into marketing because they are focused on sustainability, and a lot of consumers have concerns about the environmental impacts of AI. Next, we have short-term video content. So these are short videos from around 30 seconds to a minute long that can be posted all over many platforms such as TikToks, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels. Impossible Foods posts over all of these platforms. As you can see, this is their TikTok. They have just over 2,800 followers. This is where they post a lot of short videos that try and follow trends while also staying true to their brand image. And they can also engage with their audience. And lastly, I'm going to be talking about user-generated content, which is a little bit different because it is not really affiliated with the brand. This is just consumers giving their honest opinions and reviews. This can be done through social media, blog posts, and Yelp reviews. This is really popular now because consumers are trusting other consumers over the brand itself. This can be tricky for brands because you don't have much of a say in it, but as we've been talking about, Impossible Foods has been increasing its accessibility, and higher accessibility means it's easier for the everyday consumer to reach, to share their opinions. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening,